Are you ready? Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Here we are again.
We're back.
Young business.
Young business back in the office.
Young business back in the office. We're doing business in the office.
In the office, but it's night. It's after hours.
After hours.
After hours work.
So, are you still in business mode since it's dark outside?
I mean, it's 24/7, man.
You're 24/7.
24/7. It never stops.
Young
Never
business.
stops.
Young
Never
business
stops.
is 24/7, right?
That's right.
So I'm talking about here. Let's see here. Oh man, where is it?
Are you looking for the off the music?
Look at that.
Oh, that.
Young business.
Yeah.
Young business. Yes.
That's right. I thought you were looking for the music to stop.
Right. No. Now we can make music stop. Okay, buddy.
All
There
right.
we go. Here we are. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you, man?
I'm fine.
I'm glad you're here, man.
I'm glad to be here. It's unfortunate the whole crew isn't here. That your co-host John is unfortunately not with us tonight.
Yes, but John got back today,
That's right, he's back. Yeah.
and so maybe we can do the three of us next time.
Next time it should be the three of us. Yes.
Because he's like you, he's smart and he knows a lot about a lot of different things.
We'll have to change the configurations. Then we'll have three people, and
Yes.
so that'll make it a tad tricky.
We'll figure something
We'll
out.
figure something out.
We'll figure out
Try.
something out.
You only got 2 green chairs. Not orange.
Orange. Orange is the new green.
It is. That's true though.
But new green. But we have a shotgun mic.
Yeah, it's first time using this one for the podcast.
Right. Hopefully it sounds
little
good.
something different. Yeah, I think it'll sound fine.
Yeah, so we'll be looking forward to seeing John.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad you're here, man. I know you're a busy guy. You got a lot going on. Pre-running for president, and so you're staying busy.
Yeah,
right.
That's what we do this night. Not the usual time, but
because you've been campaigning all day.
I've been campaigning all day. I was busy. Covertly, yes, indeed.
Campaigning.
Indeed, but I was like, we gotta get this done. We gotta do it. So I was like, do you mind if we do it at night, like?
Not a problem, man. Like you said, 24/7.
24/7.
24/7. So, question for you.
Yes.
Navigator.
Mm-hmm.
Pilot. Foodie. When do you stop?
First, I was about to say that's not a question. That's a statement.
That's a statement. When do you stop? That's the question.
I stop when the plane falls out of the sky. That's when I stop.
Well,
I stop when the Lord strikes me dead.
Street says you're a heck of a pilot.
I mean, I don't like flying. Now you got to do it. Look. America's a big country, very big, very wide, and we don't have. You could drive, but that's a lot. That's a lot of gas. So, and the train's gonna be delayed. Even though I love trains, so we flew. So we did a little flying. And it was my first time. We flew down. There was a trip I went on last weekend to Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay, which state did you go?
Oh, South Carolina, not the one in West Virginia, but from North Carolina to South Carolina.
Yeah, when did you fly to South Carolina?
Oh, that was last weekend, so that was been April 10th.
Okay.
Was it
Friday night, Saturday night?
It was Saturday night to Sunday night. It was when we there that morning. It was Palm Sunday.
Oh, that's right. And you want to go to church, and I was like,
we were underdressed. Like I was surprised.
We were underdressed.
Charleston General. So apparently that weekend was, I think, prom, like college prom, and formal for fraternities and sororities. So a lot of people there, my age, who were, not white tie, black tie, and cocktail dresses, and then between that and then the next morning, everybody nicely dressed for Palm Sunday. I felt underdressed in my leather jacket and my button down and jeans and Colon sneakers. I was like, I feel a little underdressed.
But God accepts anybody however they are.
Well, he accepts you, but he wants you to put a little effort in. He doesn't want you to be careless. He's gonna love you, but you love your family members, but you don't want your family members to be right. Overweight and unhealthy.
So he doesn't want you to be a bum.
You don't want to be a bum, especially on a special occasion.
Right.
But
so how was your trip to South Carolina? So you flew there.
It was fun. It was brief. It was a bit spontaneous. When I woke up that morning, I didn't know I was going to Charleston. But
that's the kind of guy you are.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun decision.
You're always like on alert.
Yeah, I mean, I got the text. A guy asked me, "Hey, man, I'm going to Charleston for the day. You want to come with?" And I was like, "Well, I don't have anything else to do. This sounds fun. Yeah, sure." He had a small plane,
right?
And it was a little nervous because I'd never been on a small plane before,
right?
And statistically, they do crash more often. There's more accidents,
right?
But he's a good pilot. He's a really good pilot.
Okay.
Very experienced. And he showed me how to they pre-flight the plane, and we took off on a chilly, windy, cloudy day. And it took us about an hour and 15 minutes to get to Charleston.
Okay.
We were flying about like 6,000 feet in the air.
Okay.
One point we saw fire.
Yes, that's right. There was a brush fire.
Yeah, I didn't see actual flames. You could just see the smoke.
Right. And so, what could you tell about the wind in terms of the smoke?
Well, you could tell. If I remember correctly, the wind was blowing. Oh man, which I think it was.
You could tell the direction of the wind.
You could tell the direction. I'm trying to remember the exact direction because I remember from my point of view, the flames.
We were heading south.
Yeah.
And so then the wind was going west.
West, yeah, it was towards the
heading west, right?
That's right.
Then, so we know
it was decently big too. It wasn't like just some little thing, but it was.
It was a big brush fire. Right?
It was still there, and we flew back the next day. It was still there. So they had the fire, which the pilots suggested maybe it's a controlled fire. Maybe they want this fire to happen.
Right, because we even heard on the radio somebody asking about the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
there was an alert.
Right, exactly. So I understand you had some tasks on this flight.
Yeah, so he did not want me to be idle, So I had to. He had a little notepad and a pen, and he wanted me to log like our altitude. He wanted me to log the wind direction, log the information, which is like the weather updates.
On the radio, right?
On the radio.
You get it from the frequency, right?
You get it from the frequency, like when we were in Florence, when we were in Charleston, and just, I think in Charlotte too.
That's right.
And
it's called the NAS, National Airspace System.
National Airspace System. I did get a talk, so he wanted me to fly a couple times. He's like, "You want to?"
And you spoke on there, right?
I did, yeah.
You actually pressed the button.
I did a couple times.
And they actually responded.
I did. I gave them the.
And they didn't even pause. I mean, they were like, they just said what they
I think I handled it pretty well, yeah. So I just reported the altitude we were flying at. I'm not sure I should say the plane number for the sake of it, and confidentiality.
Right, because we're Black Ops.
It's Black Ops. The Black Ops mission.
It's a Black Ops mission.
This plane may not even be real.
Right. The story may not exist.
Yeah, this could be.
It may be a secret story.
It may be a secret story that I shouldn't be saying. And I've already screwed up.
It's okay. Keep on going.
But so I reported the plane number, our altitude. They would respond. I would respond with like 10-1 or some.
And they responded with the
information, India information.
They actually responded with the altimeter.
Altimeter, that's right. Yeah,
the altimeter 3012 or whatever.
3012. So then
and then you would respond 12.
12, yeah. And then I would log the 3012.
Yes.
And going down there, we did not know that some visitors were in Charleston.
The Blue Angels.
The Blue Angels, the U.S. Air Force.
So we showed up. Like ballers.
Just out of nowhere.
And
we look over, and there are 5 or 6 blue painted F-16s. Are they F-16s?
I think they're F-18s.
Maybe F-18s. Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah.
And they're there for an air show, and we were supposed to land at Charleston Airport, which also functions as an Air Force base. And we had to divert to a local airport on an island.
And you chose where to divert to.
That's right.
You chose.
Mm-hmm.
And then you chose Mount Pleasant because you have family there.
I did.
You texted them, and they basically said, "Go away."
they didn't say go away.
They basically said, "Go." I'm like, "We're busy."
They were busy. Yes.
Yeah, I haven't seen you in 6 years.
Well,
glad you're here, but we're busy. Go away.
It was completely out of the blue.
That was dissful. I think you got dissed.
Well, most of them weren't in like Mount Pleasant or Charleston. The one who was just had surgery. I'm not gonna pop in out of nowhere, Charleston 6 years. Hey, I need to your gallbladder moved, but like I need a place to stay because we got diverted
and we're hungry, man.
and we're hungry. So can you feed us and give us some money?
We're broke and we're hungry.
So give us a ride, give us some money, tell us a good place to eat.
Yeah.
So we had to do a hot landing or hard landing or
a hot landing
because of the wind and the way the runway was laid out. So we pretty much had to do like a sharp 180.
We did a sharp left 180.
And we
on runway 35.
35 is what it was. So why does it call runway 35? There's only one runway.
So watch this. So then you have one runway with two ends, right?
Yeah.
So one's 3.5, and the other one was 3. I think if I remember correctly, it's the reciprocal. It's the opposite. So then they put the runway based on the magnetic orientation of the compass.
Interesting.
Right.
I would not have guessed that.
Yes. So if you're flying on a heading of 350, you'll run into runway 35.
Okay.
That's how you know.
That's when it's the magnetic
composition
from the
because you have two types of norths. You have two types of norths. You have a true north and you have a magnetic north.
I thought it was just north.
That's what I thought.
My mama said when she was a kid, she thought north was whatever direction you were facing. Whatever direction you're facing was north. That's just the way. I didn't want to realize there's actually that's not always true.
It's not always true because you're not always facing to where Santa makes the toys.
And so, anyway, so we landed. We had the wind flaps closed. I think
the flaps were not retracted.
Not retracted, not closed. They were not retracted.
They were not retracted. They were at 0. Mm-hmm. So we were more sleek when we were landing.
Yeah,
because we had to pierce the wind.
That's why we had to pierce the wind. So we landed. Good landing.
It was hot.
It was hot, but we did.
Came in fast.
We refueled. We were only there for about an hour, and I remember there was a restaurant there that we weren't able to find. Apparently, there's multiple shops.
Pizza one.
Yeah, it's called Gormali's. They have fantastic pizza. They get their water from New York, and that water does affect the taste, affects the dough. But we couldn't find it. I looked at the address. There's multiple shopping centers on this little island.
Yes.
And between the time, we don't have time for this, so we gotta do something else.
We had to go to, was it McDonald's?
Yeah.
We had to go to McDonald's.
I didn't have any McDonald's. I mean, I wasn't hungry.
You didn't eat McDonald's.
I don't eat McDonald's anyway, and I wasn't hungry, so I was like, I can wait.
I had to get McDonald's.
Emergency food.
Emergency food.
Yeah.
You know how they say emergency food in German?
No, how do you say it?
They call it Krankenhausessen.
Krankenhausessen. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, Krankenhaus means hospital.
Really? Hospital food.
Krankenhaus. That's right, hospital food. Yeah, emergency food.
So we were there, then we took off and went back. We actually landed at Charleston that time at runway 35. No, 33. 33. That's right. That was the one we wanted, and that's the one we got because it was closest to the private airport.
Because we did some decision making skills right before we landed. What would be the most based on the winds? What would be the most appropriate runway?
Yeah.
And we deduced 33. And they actually came back 3-3, right?
Yeah, that was lucky.
Because we did some prediction.
That's right. There was some prediction that went in there, and we landed, and that was good. And turns out the hotel we booked might have been the wrong day.
Well, it was my fault because I thought that we had.
It's okay. I don't blame you.
Some free points at the Hilton, but we had fun. It was a good hotel.
It was. It was nice. It was a nice hotel.
Nice hotel. Nice. Bathrooms.
Yeah,
nice
bathroom was huge.
Bathroom was baller, man.
It was, but I couldn't find the light switch. I couldn't find the light switch. It was like this nice bathroom with like a chandelier.
And it was behind the towels.
Yeah, it was behind the towels. That's a little lazy design. That's not the best design.
Yeah.
But shame it was only so quick, but then we had to come back up the next day.
But it was fun, right?
It was fun.
It was fun.
It was a fun trip.
You were kind of concerned about the flying part.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like flying. Don't like flying in a small plane any less. But by the time we were flying back, I was like, I'm already here. I don't have a choice. You just gotta go.
You did a good job. I thought it was great.
I did have to hold in the pee almost the entire time. I should have gone beforehand, but I thought, well, I haven't had that much water. I'll be fine. And then like 20 minutes in, we're passing over the PED River, and I'm like, oh man, I got a PED right now.
Well, cool. So then you went to Charleston. It was a good experience, right?
Yeah.
First time flying in a small airplane.
Yeah. It was a Cessna 172.
172 XP, yeah.
XP, which is the most common plane in the world, I'm pretty sure.
Most common airplane in the world, yeah, like the Volkswagen Bug.
Is that really the most common car in the world?
Yeah, I think so.
I would think that Ford F-150.
I think they made more Volkswagen Bugs than the F-150. F-150 is probably the most common pickup truck.
That's true,
but the Volkswagen, I think, was the most. You can Google it and check it out.
I like the F-150.
You like the 150?
I do. I don't have a pickup truck, but I do like it.
It's a nice truck.
Mm-hmm.
The new one's real nice. The stick shift's in the middle.
I've seen it. Yeah, the electric one now too. I think that's coming out.
Yes. So what's next on our list?
Let's go to the headlines. Actually, let's go to some
headlines. Okay, so says here, blast rock Kyiv and Lviv as Ukraine braces for payback over sunken Russian flagship. Talk to me about this one.
When I first saw the headline, I was shocked, mistakenly, because I thought that Lviv was in Poland. I was very confused. I was like, wait a minute, they hit Poland? That's in NATO. This is a huge escalation. And that's right, like, Lviv is in the very far area of western Ukraine.
Right.
I thought Poland's changed hands several times. So I thought for some reason I thought that was in Poland. I was like, oh man, they just hit a NATO member. But so there's been an escalation. That ship got sunk, and I believe it was in was it the Black Sea or is it the Azov Sea?
It was right below Odessa.
Okay, so it's off Crimea. I think that's the Black Sea.
Yeah, it's the Black Sea.
So that's the Black Sea.
So then see, here's what I find funny about this headline. Russia's pissed because Ukraine sunk their flagship boat guided missile cruiser, right?
Yeah, missile guided cruiser.
Yeah, missile guided. Yeah, so they're pissed off. So now they're getting back at more bombing.
Yeah.
But yet Russia bombed the shit out of Ukraine. Mm-hmm. Ukraine sinks one ship, and now they're crying foul. Give me a break.
I mean, I'm trying to think. So, there's a missile guided ship. I don't think it was the flagship of the whole Navy. Or they're not having the whole Navy Ukraine. But I think of the naval ships that were stationed in Crimea after the annexation, that I think was the main ship, and it was probably a likely target. I can't confirm this, but it was probably firing missiles because it's a missile guided cruiser.
Yeah,
it doesn't have like giant cannons on it. It's not an old battleship, but
like laser guided missile.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So what hit the ship? It wasn't like a torpedo. Was it just a cruise missile, or I didn't see. I couldn't find.
I don't know. It's still kind of top secret.
Yeah. I guess so, because I guess I released it. I looked up the information on that. I couldn't find it.
I couldn't find it either. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I truly think that some countries are covertly helping out.
Oh yeah. What also makes this tricky is that Russia and Ukraine share a lot of arms. Ukraine, though they gave up their nuclear weapons after their independence, they have a lot of old Soviet armory. And Russia still uses it. Russia has a well-developed military industrial complex, but they still use some old Soviet armory. And so a lot of like small arms and even missiles and whatnot, they share the same ones. That was when you heard that, it wasn't the Bucha massacre, but there was one thing that happened. It was a bombing of a train station. And Russia was like, no, we didn't do that. You guys had a friendly fire case, and you can't prove it was ours because that missile, you have that type of missile. Right? We're not the only ones who have that. And then you have, I know the big two neutral players have been this, China, India, and I guess Israel's also been very neutral in this, surprisingly. Because Israel's not in NATO, even though it's considered a close American military ally.
Why do you think Israel's being neutral on this deal?
Some geopolitics.
Are they friends with Russia?
They're neutral. Well, Israel has a large Russian population, but Russian Jews and just Russians.
But we prop up Israel.
Oh yeah, like too much.
Israel would not exist if we didn't prop those motherfuckers up.
They have better healthcare and education and resources than we do, and they get way too much money. They're not some poor third world country that needs help. I think they get way too much first aid. Like they make themselves sound a lot poorer than they actually are. But anyway, they have there's a lot of Russians there. A lot of Russian oligarchs have moved their money there, coincidentally. And That's so one. I think it's demography. Another one is geopolitics because Israel's not in NATO, so they're not obligated to support against it, and the Israeli government is in a sort of tepid position because they had 3 elections, I think, in 1 year, and the longtime Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who was more right wing, pro-Russian, was ousted, and now there's a different coalition.
Bennett's the new guy, right?
Yeah, Bennett's the new guy.
We stayed at his hotel.
That's right, the Hotel Bennett. Sorry, it's called the Hotel Bennett.
Right, we stayed at his hotel.
And so his coalition in the Israeli Knesset, which is their Congress, is, I think his majority is like maybe 1 seat, so it's super narrow, and all it takes is one party to back out of it. And I think one of those parties in the coalition is a party called Yisrael Benineh or Benai, I don't know the Hebrew word, and that's the party of Russian Jews. The Russian Jews vote for that party. And so they're worried if they put this pressure on Russia, that party will be angered, and they'll back out of the coalition, and the government will fall.
Mm.
So it's a geopolitical thing too, and demography, rather than neutral.
You would think that Israel would be loyal to the United States since we help them out so much.
Well, usually, sometimes they are, but in this case, they are trying to play both sides of the same. They're trying to get the best of both worlds. And right now, I don't think America's paying attention to what Israel's going on in this because, on one hand, they're not in NATO, so they're not an obligation. They're probably more concerned with Turkey because Turkey's gotten very close to Russia.
Yes, Turkey. Erdogan, right?
Erdogan, yeah, I can remember pronunciation.
Erdogan, yeah. He's kind of. Didn't he buy
a missile system from Russia? He's in NATO. Turkey's been in NATO for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that kind of against the rules? I mean, that kind of seems like that's like not kosher.
Yeah, it's not kosher. Well, no, in Islam it's haram, right? Halal. No, not halal. What is it?
Halal is a type of meat.
Halal is the meat. What's like the forbidden food? Is it
pork?
No, but what's it called? So it's kosher is in Judaism. What's in Islam? Is it haram?
I don't know.
I think it's haram. I think it's haram. That's haram. Yeah. So it's haram of them.
Are you Muslim?
No, but Turkey. The truth. I mean, I respect Islam.
You know a lot about Islam.
I don't know a lot. I know more than average American.
It's okay if you're Muslim.
I'm not Muslim. I don't eat pork, but I'm a Muslim. I know.
Are you sure?
I don't think Muhammad is the final prophet, so no.
Okay.
I respect Islam. I don't know a lot of that. I know more than the average American does, but I don't know.
Right.
I don't know a ton, but anyway, yeah. So Turkey, they're mostly Muslim, and Erdogan, or how do you say his name?
Erdogan.
Yeah. Turkish is kind of weird as a language to me as an American. Erdogan is very much played up Islamist tendencies, but Turkey has a long secular tradition, past 100 years, ever since they ceased to be the Ottoman Empire. Mustafa Kemal Ataturk established that Turkey to be a secular government, and they've been drifting closer towards Putin, and the push to play into more autocratic, deeply nationally conservative Islamist tendencies is a reaction in part to the 2015 attempted coup in Turkey that was against Erdogan that failed, and Erdogan stayed in power. And he viewed that as a Western-backed attempt because the effort was led by a guy named, I think it was Fethullah. It's like Fetullah, who's like a cleric who lives in America. He lives in someplace in Pennsylvania.
I remember now. Yes, you're right. Yes.
Yeah, he lives in American exile.
I remember now, yes.
And he's like, hey, this guy is trying to overthrow my government, and you're harboring him in Pennsylvania. How could you harbor in Pennsylvania in the main line?
He's in there with the Amish.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, yeah, where is Pennsylvania? See, I've been trying to. He's somewhere. Like, he's not in Philadelphia. He's in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania.
Like Lancaster, somewhere like where they're plowing.
Yeah, well, Lancaster's really nice. It's not a small place actually. Lancaster's like half.
I've been to Lancaster.
I've never been, but I've seen pictures. Do you like it? It seems very pretty. They got a really cool river there.
Yeah, that's where the Amish people are.
Yeah, a lot of them Pennsylvania Dutch they speak, but it's actually German. We've gone very off topic, but anyway. Yeah. So he's been hiding out there, and so Erdogan blames the West. He doesn't blame America specifically, he blames the West for enabling that. So that's part of he's been drifting closer to Putin. So I don't think he's been arming Putin. Because again, Russia doesn't need to be armed. They got guns.
But they want friends who have votes in NATO.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. They want some sway in NATO.
That's some sway in NATO. And most of Europe is in NATO. if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
The only besides Russia, like Russia's friends in Europe are Russia, Serbia, Hungary. Hungary is the tricky one because I don't think Hungary is Hungary in NATO. They're in the EU, but I don't know if they're in
They
NATO.
are not in NATO. They're in the EU. They're not in NATO. They just had
an election.
And the guy's kind of on the right, and so
he's an illiberal. His term he describes himself as an illiberal, like liberal with an I. He considers himself like a national conservative, and he's in the EU. He doesn't see himself as like a Eurosceptic. He's like there's a lot of problems with the EU, and I want to help it. And some people say he's a Putin ally. He's closer to Putin than most of the EU, but I wouldn't consider him an ally, especially in this war.
In his speech, he praised Putin.
He sees him before the war. He sees him as inspiration. As like, hey, this is a guy who cares deeply about preserving his culture and his country. He's not interested in money and materialistic desires. He's a more simple guy. Since the war, he's not as harsh as the other countries have taken the position on. He's like, we need to have peace in this, okay? And he campaigned beforehand, the polls would show that he was not doing very well. It was going to be a tied re-election. All the opposition parties are united against him, but he was able to pull off a win in two ways. One, through gerrymandering. His party, Fidesz, owns a significant portion of the media and newspapers. And another part was because he campaigned as we're the anti-war party. Right? We don't want to bring Hungary into the war. We don't want Hungarian lives going to die there. And we're going to help the Ukrainian people, but we're not going to antagonize Putin because this isn't our fight.
Right. I think...
and it worked. He won by a larger margin than in 2018, which was also...
So I think most of the people in most European countries, NATO countries and non-NATO countries, they're helping out in terms of medical supplies.
They've been hosting refugees, a lot of them.
Hosting refugees, also giving them heavy weapons.
Yeah. I think the only countries, I know Sweden and Finland aren't, but Finland's interested in joining NATO now.
Yeah, Sweden and Finland are both interested because they're scared shitless.
Especially Finland. Finland had a war. Very important.
They're on the edge, bro.
Yeah, a very important element of their national identity is the Winter War, which was it was a brief war, and it was part of World War II, but Russia did to Finland what they're doing to Ukraine now. They wanted a big part of their land, and Russia actually lost. They lost that war. Despite having way more troops and military, they lost to the Finnish army.
And then I think in order for Russia to leave, they made Finland sign a declaration saying you will not let anybody come to your aid if we're attacked, you won't.
It's basically stay like don't let anybody see in their business. Like I can't remember the piece of territory begins with a K. I don't know. It's like
Kashik.
No, it's not. I wish it's like it's climate-wise, it's the opposite. Kashik's like a rainforest and jungle, and this area is like tundra. This is the exact opposite. I can't remember the name of it. It's frustrating. I feel like I can't remember the name of a lot of things. I'm slacking, but
that's okay.
Yeah, so Finland and Sweden aren't. Ireland isn't. They're neutral. Of course, now they talked about ending the neutrality. Austria is neutral, and I think everybody else is either. I think everybody else is in NATO.
But I think everybody
Moldova isn't.
But I think all of the European countries are for Ukraine, and they feel bad for Ukraine,
except for Serbia.
Serbia they just had an election too, and that young guy got elected.
In Serbia? Are you thinking?
Was this Hungary and Serbia?
No, France had an election recently. Serbia's prime minister is a lesbian, actually, which is kind of ironic because gay marriage is unconstitutional. It's banned in the constitution in Serbia, but their leader's a lesbian.
Maybe slow. So which two countries just had elections?
Hungary and France.
No, there was another one. I thought
Malta had one.
No, it was with an
Malta
S.
actually did. Malta's like it's like 0 seats change. It was like exactly status quo. But yeah, Malta had theirs. France had the first round. There was
one with an S, and I thought it was Serbia.
No, Northern Ireland's got theirs coming up soon. Northern Irish politics are crazy. It's insane. Yeah, they got theirs coming up soon.
As long as Jerry Adams doesn't run.
Yeah, I think he's retired now. And Jerry Adams, was he based in Northern Ireland? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think he's done blowing shit up.
Yeah.
He's just too old for like Dynamite.
Yeah, they're currently just Mary Lou McDonald. They've been doing well. Sinn Féin's been doing very well now. They're the largest party now.
Oh, Sinn Féin?
Sinn Féin, yeah. They've had all of the parties have had to form a coalition against them, so that Sinn Féin couldn't be the largest party because we've gone so off topic. I'm just going to wrap this up. But yeah, Ireland's two main parties historically came out of the war against England. There was a brief civil war whether to accept the treaty that England proposed or not. And the pro-treaty side was the party known as Fine Gael, which is like Brothers of Ireland. And the other one was Fianna Fáil. I don't know what that one stands for. Ideologically, nowadays, I mean, they're both like centrists. I'd say the Fine Gael is more neoliberal and Fianna Fáil is a little more populist right, just a little bit. And they're always either in coalition, and people vote for them just on family loyalty. Because Sinn Féin did so well, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael had to form a coalition together, which they'd never done before. And they did one with the Greens, too. So it's a three-way coalition, and they're just barely holding together against Sinn Féin.
How can you remember all this?
Well, I've actually been Irish politics a lot recently just because, branch out, and it's a little bit easier to keep up with theirs because they're an English-speaking country, though Sinn Féin isn't too happy with that.
You know too much. Let's move on to Florida.
We got so off topic.
Yeah, you know too much. Let's move on to Florida.
Yeah, all right.
Headline: Disney faces backlash in Florida amid "Don't Say Gay" controversy. What's going on?
So the Don't Say Gay bill, it's not the official name of the bill. The official name of the bill, I think it's like the parental right law.
No, the official name is "Don't Say G*****."
No, what's the official name? I can't remember. I mean, I can't remember it. I'm sorry, audience. It was a bill. I'm pretty sure is it officially law yet? I think it's officially law.
I think he signed it.
Yeah, he had proposed it a couple weeks ago.
And other states are
modeling. Yeah. So Governor Ron DeSantis, who is the current Republican governor of Florida, proposed this bill to prevent discussion at the elementary level. So that's K through 5. K through 3. Well, that's not elementary age. Well, this is the victory part.
And then 4 through 12
is
you have to change the...
Yeah. So basically no discussion around, he said, gender identity, sex identity, and just anything...
Who cares?
Well, it's confusing. I think it's vague intentionally. It's almost a design...
If somebody said to me in the 3rd grade, "Hey, Greg, G.I. Joe's gay," that doesn't make me gay. Okay.
I didn't know about homosexuality until I was in 4th grade. And I found out about homosexuality, Modern Family, the television show. We watched it as a kid, and one of the families are the 2 gay guys, and their Chinese adopted daughter. That's actually I found out about them. I'm dead serious. But
gay doesn't matter. I mean, really, at the end of the day, Blake, gay doesn't matter.
What they're saying, they're saying the teachers are grooming these kids who, they're not talking about like sex. What the problem with the bill is that it prevents any mention of it at all. So, for example, you're doing a family tree project, which every school does at some point. So, chances are some of those kids, their parents might be gay, and how are they supposed to do their tree discuss it? Can they bring it up? The teacher can't bring it up. Are students allowed to bring it up? It's vague intentionally. It's designed to entrap the teachers so they can get sued by a parent. For promoting this. First of all, gender ideology. These people don't even know what the difference is between sex and gender. They conflate it, right? And they can't figure it out. Then 4th and 5th grade, they say, it's at their discretion and appropriate. So it's like, is sex ed still okay?
Here's the irony. People in these age brackets don't give a shit.
They don't think about it.
They don't care. They don't think about it. They were about cars, blowing stuff up, dinosaurs. Yeah, watch
sport basketball. They care about sports.
Yeah, they don't. It's like the last thing on their mind.
Yeah, and they say that the teachers are teaching us. I'm like, they have maybe found a handful. I think it's maybe 3 cases of teachers actually teaching explicitly sexual stuff, and that's different. That does cross the line. You are making a mountain of a molehill, and you are taking a handful of cases in a state of over 20 million people of one of the largest education systems in the country, and saying this is what's going on in the entire state. It's a handful of isolated cases that should be dealt with because
Let me ask you a question.
I do agree that you shouldn't be teaching kindergartners about sex. I think everybody agrees with that.
But nobody wants to teach.
Almost nobody. Nobody's teaching it.
I remember kindergarten. I slept.
I didn't get nap time. My kindergarten. So we had so many kindergartners. They had to put some of us in the first grade class. It was a combo class. It was me and like 8 other kindergartners, a bunch of first graders. We didn't get nap time. I pretty much had 2 first grades.
Yeah, I mean, nobody cared about that kind of stuff. You learned about ABCs, right? But let me ask you this though. So then, this "Don't Say Gay" bill, doesn't that go against one of the constitutional amendments or something like that? Isn't there a constitution?
The word "gay" is not found in the Constitution.
But freedom of speech.
Yeah, freedom of speech is all. There's the Supreme Court.
What's
the Supreme Court? That's First Amendment. That's the First Amendment. There are restrictions on that. They do. The Supreme Court has ruled. I remember 100 years ago they ruled in the case with espionage that hey, if it invites danger, like for example, you can't shout fire in a theater and say, oh, freedom of speech, that's a crime. So it's like there is a limit to it.
But being gay, nobody's gonna get shot and killed, or you're not endangering somebody or creating espionage.
Well, some people view the way that I see this. They're bringing back a tired old technique of labeling everybody in the LGBT community as pedophiles and groomers. But they're trying to slander them. They're trying to slander them and pander to a base that I think a lot of people mistakenly thought was over homophobia or opposition to gay marriage or whatever. And so they're bringing this bill. And so Disney, a lot of people were mad at Disney because when the bill came up, Disney would daily speak about it. Like, hey, Disney, you're the largest company in Florida. You're like the embodiment of Florida. Why are you speaking out of this? Well, Disney did.
Disney did.
Not at first. People also point out
first.
Disney's giving money to plenty of politicians. Some of the Democrats, but most of the Republicans, including I think it was $900,000 to DeSantis' gubernatorial election or campaign in 2018.
And now Disney is being threatened by politicians.
By both sides. So people were mad. They say, hey, you need to speak out. And they apologized and said, we're sorry. We're there for you guys. We should have spoken out.
Or we're going to take away Mickey Mouse.
Huh?
Or they're going to take away Mickey
Mouse.
But
I'm not from the more left side. People who are first criticizing and saying, hey, you're not speaking out on this. And Disney CEO made a video where I'm sorry, we'll be there for you guys. We're gonna commit to y'all more. And that angered some people on the right who were saying, hey, you're selling out. You're selling to the woke mob for a bill that you guys shouldn't be opposed to because it's supposed to ostensibly keep kids from talking about anything gay related.
Well, Disney is a very forward-leaning company, and they're very liberal, and they probably have a lot of homosexuals working.
Well, yeah, they have a huge.
They're in the arts industry, right?
They're in the arts industry. It's a big company in general. So yeah, I mean, even if some people they probably have always had somebody that just couldn't be open about it. Yeah, I mean, Disney employees. I don't know how many thousands. It's got to be the tens of thousands of.
So essentially,
probably 100,000 people.
So can we agree that this is a bill that simply panders to the base?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, again, there are some people, some parents who maybe they're not even political or maybe even be liberal leaning, who have heard of those isolated cases of teachers teaching inappropriate things and go, wait a minute, is this more widespread? Like, maybe I should be worried about this because I don't want my school-age children who aren't, even thinking about sex inadvertently hearing it from a teacher and it being promoted through a curriculum. And a lot of people have those concerns, but then they get blown out of proportion and cynical, opportunistic politicians say, hey, here's a chance for us to get them on our side. Let's tell them what's going on.
Right.
And so now, yeah, Disney's under pressure from the right. They've sold out and gone woke. And
okay, so let me ask you this: you're 20 years old.
Yeah.
You're closer to elementary school than I am.
I guess so. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Time wise.
Yeah.
So then, do you remember at all a teacher ever saying anything to you that was concerning, that made you feel uncomfortable or scared about your gender or whatnot, your sexuality? Do you remember any of this going on?
No, we didn't. We did sex ed fifth grade. So I was in the older part of my class. So I must have been, I think it was 10 or 11. We did discuss that. They had the boys and girls in 2 different classrooms, and I don't remember. They didn't really mention this. Everybody found it kind of awkward to talk about. The teachers were looking forward to talking about this,
right.
And you had to get parental permission. Like some parents opt out and say, "Hey, I don't want my kid to just go to the room and read or do homework."
So in other words, nobody cared.
No, but that was 10 years ago. That was also back. But some people would say this was before a lot of those gay and trans things came at the forefront. I mean, this was when I was in 5th grade. It was 2012, and that was even before gay marriage was even legal in most of the country.
Okay, so then, as a
so
guy,
a lot happened.
All right, so watch this. As a guy, 51 years old,
Mm-hmm.
who has never had children,
Mm-hmm.
but if I had a child,
Mm-hmm.
and my child came home from school, and he or she said, "My teacher talked about A, B, or C. I don't understand it," or "This is what she said or he said." First of all, I'd be happy that it was brought up, because I don't want my child to go through life being naive. So, okay, son or daughter, here's what your teacher said. Here's how I feel. Make your own decision. That's what I say.
You would feel that at any age, like say like.
Yeah, I mean,
if your 5-year-old kid came in and saying, "What are gay people?" You think of like 5 years old, like.
I would say, here's my opinion. Is you're born that way. You gotta love them just like you love all your other buddies. It's their decision. They're born that way. That's how I feel about it. And usually a parent has sway over the child. That's how I feel about it. But you make your own decision. I may not say you make your own decision.
I would say but
I would say this.
I think
this is my reality.
Yeah. I think if I were you, like that age, I would say we'll talk about that later. Like we'll talk about it when you're older, a little bit older, because you may not understand it, and I don't want to confuse you. I don't want your teacher to confuse you, and I don't want to confuse you. So let's wait a couple years, and then we'll talk about it. Like I'm not like don't keep this a secret, but just like some things every parent will say. When a child brings up the topic, they say you'll understand when you're older.
So then having said that. If I had a son 16 years old who came to me and said, "Dad, I'm gay," I have a solution. I get him a whore.
Get him a whore.
I get him a whore. I say, work him over. Work him over 24 hours, and that should straighten him out. That's what I would do as a father. I give my son a whore.
I'm assuming is this whore a man whore or a girl whore?
A girl whore.
Because the word whore is also nowadays applied to men too. You say man whore, and for the same meaning.
I get him a girl prostitute, a girl whore. Would
that be legal? 16 is age of consent, but would that be legal?
I wouldn't care. I would just say, come over. I lock him in a room. I say, work the boy over. Bang my son. Bang him. And then when he gets out, he's straight as shit. Because he had so much pussy, he'd be like, "It's all I can take. It's all I want." That's what I would do. What do you think about that?
I wouldn't do that, but that's you. I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't do that?
If he didn't say he was gay, I would say, are you, like, you know? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, all right. What else did you do to school today? I wouldn't go, I'm buying a prostitute. Prostitution's a crime. I don't endorse prostitution. I'd be a hypocrite, especially to buy your own.
Okay.
But yeah, so there's pressure from a lot of people. So now politicians in Florida, remember Florida's got a Republican governor and a Republican-controlled legislature. They're threatening to revoke some of Disney's financial privileges that they enjoy. They pretty much have a tax-free status. I think Disneyland's like incorporated as, I don't know if it's a town or township or village. They have a police department, fire department, municipal, water, trash services.
Tax breaks, right?
Tax breaks, yeah. Mm-hmm. Which Florida's already pretty lean on taxes. They don't have income taxes.
Right.
And, I don't think Disney would ever move out of Florida, but, are they bluffing? Are the Florida politicians pushing this? Are they bluffing that, hey, we're really going to take away your financial privileges? I don't think they're going to. But at the same time, DeSantis is a guy who sees himself as presidential material. He's got to commit. He's got to show that he's real. So, maybe some clerical reason or some little minutia prevents them from doing it. But maybe the court will strike it down. But DeSantis also has got most of the justices.
You remember what Palpatine said?
What do you say?
Everyone who gains power
is afraid of losing it.
That's
right. Did he say that at the opera? I think
at the opera.
That's right. That's before the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
That's right.
If it was any, tells a tragedy, but
that's right. That was a good movie.
It was. I realized
that was a good scene too.
It was.
That was a strong. Actually, Hayden Christensen said in that scene that when Palpatine was saying his dialogue, he got lost in the whole scene. He was like, I can't believe this. He got lost in it.
Of course, you remember the whole opera in front of you, the whole bubble thing. That's all green screen because there's not actually people swimming in some tank doing an opera.
Right.
But because I remember how they kick somebody out of the room. They're in the little private box, or probably really expensive. Yeah, leave. And all the people just dip out of there.
Yeah.
And I was not to the first of the dark side because Palpatine's manipulating him for years. But I think he knows Anakin's having nightmares. He knows he's having. That's when he starts having the nightmares of Padme dying in childbirth.
That's right, because he makes him admit saying you're afraid of.
Does Palpatine give him the nightmares? I don't know. Is Palpatine?
That's a good.
Because he's got a lot of power.
Right.
I've heard
he could have given him the nightmares. I never thought about that.
Because I've heard the theory. There's a lot of people wondered how did Padme die of a broken heart? Just die.
Right.
Even though she was probably really upset.
You're right. I never thought about that.
But one of the theories I've heard, and it's not a super incredulous theory, is that Palpatine, using his Sith sorcery magic, sucked the life force out of Padme to save Vader's life. Because remember, that's during her whole childbirth scene is when Vader is getting reconstructed without any anesthesia or anything like that. So he's feeling every cut and bolts and whatnot.
But yet Luke and Leia live.
They live, yeah. So they managed to save the kids. And there's a little plot hole there because in Return of the Jedi, Leia says to Luke that she remembers their mother. There's no way Leia remembers.
Exactly.
Her mother dies a minute after she's born.
Exactly.
But now, as Padme dies, Vader is born. So there's a theory that Palpatine somehow kills Padme.
So let's go ahead and move on because we've been here for quite a while. I don't see how many minutes, but
sorry about the Turkish distraction and the Star Wars.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on to something I want to learn. Okay. Because we have other headlines, but we don't want this to go on until 4 a.m.
Yeah.
We don't want your father to fall asleep again. So, can you explain to me how a bill gets passed?
Certainly.
Tell me how it works.
Like in Congress, yeah.
Isn't that where they all get passed? Is in Congress?
They don't. Technically, that's where they get passed and started, but in many ways, they're started outside of Congress. So
explain this to me. Explain to me from the very beginning. You had said one time it was think tanks.
What you have nowadays are think tanks, mostly in Washington, D.C., but there are others around the country. Their job...
Liberal and conservative.
Yeah, and also some centrists in there. They are nonprofit groups, technically, whose job is to generate evidence and research for policies. Some of the famous ones like Brocking's Institute, the Heritage Foundation, that's a really big one. And they have a lot of money, and they generate research for politicians. Here, this is why you should push this bill because we found it will save money. You should push this bill because you found it will poll well. And
can you give me an example of a bill that got pushed?
In a way, yeah, Obamacare in a way. The Obamacare is interesting. People don't remember it too well because it's also been a while. But Obamacare, or it was the Affordable Health Care Act, was modeled after the health care bill that had been established in Massachusetts by then Governor Romney. Yeah.
Right.
If you remember 2012, Romney couldn't attack Obama on Obamacare, even though it was very unpopular at the time, especially amongst Republicans, because he helped create it. The Heritage Foundation helped him devise that in Massachusetts,
which is a conservative.
That's conservative think tank because the individual mandate was seen as the right-wing solution to the healthcare question. More left-wings were like universal healthcare, single-payer system, which is what most countries use. And of course, everybody forgets that now because then after they introduced it, the right came out against it.
Well, you do realize when you say most countries use a one-payer system, a one-pay system. Germany, for example, has the government insurance. And they also have private insurance.
Yeah, they allow you.
So
you can choose.
You can choose.
Yeah, you can choose. I think France does that too.
Right.
And Switzerland, actually.
So then,
That's an example of like a bill, a think tank helping to craft a bill.
Right. So then a think tank crafts a bill. The think tank takes the bill to who?
They take it to staffers on committees. So members of Congress have staffers, their chief of staff, people who handle the phones and constituent phone calls.
Now the congressmen, are they the ones that there's 435 of them?
In the House, yes, there's 4.
In the House.
Voting. There's also a few non-voting delegates from the territories.
But there's 435. And the senators are
100.
100, two per state. Okay.
Yes.
So then the bill starts with the congressman. So then goes to the staffer. The staffer talks to the congressman.
Yes. In some committees, the more larger prominent ones have their own staffers who they're a little more, I guess to say, nonpartisan because they just work for whoever's on the committee. When you see a committee hearing, they're the people in the background. So you have like the big desk and you have the politicians there. The people behind them in those smaller chairs who are like writing things down, those are the staffers.
Gotcha.
They will introduce the congressman, depending on which congressman it is, because this is a health care bill.
Does the congressman say, hey, find me some good bills, I need some help, I need to get reelected, find me a bill that
He can, yeah. Typically the think tank comes in, but the congressman can reach out. They do that. Depends on what the bill is. And they reach out to certain congressmen because it pertains to what bill. Remember, members of Congress are on certain committees. So say that Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, they wouldn't go to Kevin Brady, the Republican leader on the Ways and Means Committee, because that's tax. Actually, they probably would actually go to him, but not for the first. They wouldn't go to the military, for instance. They would go to the Education, Labor, and Health Committee.
To try to get some traction.
Traction, yes. And then a member of Congress they'll officially have it written out, and then they'll introduce it to the committee. They'll have co-sponsors. If you agree with it, you also sign your name on the bottom. And
now it's gaining more traction.
Yes, it's
the further along it gets, the more traction it gets.
Yes, and so
the more attention it gets.
Yes, it's on the committee, and of course, it's ultimately up to the chairman of the committee, or chairwoman, or chairperson, to decide to even put the bill to a vote. That bill that's gone to the committee.
Vote for 435 people.
Just on the committee so far. And the committees are like average like 30 people.
Okay, so the committee votes on it,
mm-hmm.
and if the committee says, okay, this is a good idea, we vote yes, yay.
Yeah.
Where does it go then?
Then it goes to the House floor or Senate, because bills can originate either the House or the Senate. More often than not, they originate in the House, but they can originate in the Senate.
Okay, so then the House passes law, and the Senate also passes law.
Yes, they can.
I see.
The Senate has a few more different responsibilities because they also confirm government positions like in the cabinet and whatnot, but they can also introduce it. They don't do it as
in terms of passing law.
Yeah.
Either body can pass.
Yeah.
Can pass a law.
There's committees in both of them, and they typically have the same amount of committees. There is one committee though that almost all the bills have to go through in the House. That is the Rules Committee. It's also known as the Traffic Cop one. The Rules Committee determines when bills are put to the floor vote in the overall House of Representatives, how much time is allowed for debates, can you offer amendments, like little changes to the bill, outside the committee. It's a very powerful committee. In fact, it's like how, for example, a lot of civil rights legislation for, I think it was 12 years, got semi because this one man, I can't remember his name, I'm forgetting everything tonight.
It's okay.
From Northern Virginia, a Democrat, Dixiecrat, was the chairman of the Rules Committee, and because of seniority, they couldn't remove him, and he would just get the civil rights bill and go, okay, we'll discuss that, next session, we'll discuss the next session, like, just
just kick the can down the
road. Put it in the drawer, and so the House votes on it, say they pass it, then it goes to the Senate, or if the Senate passes it, it goes to the House, and let's say.
So if the Congress passes it, it has to go to the Senate.
If the House passes it, yeah, Congress is House and the Senate.
Congress is House and the Senate. Okay.
Yeah. Bicameral system.
Right. Okay. So
let's say it passes in both of them.
Okay.
All right. If there were any changes made, like a single one amendment to the bill, just a different wording or different policy that came up, say, in the Senate after it passed the House, then it has to go to what they call conference. That's when the House and Senate get together and agree to the change, because the House member voted on that original bill. They didn't vote for the amendment.
Is this where some pork gets in there to help out?
It can, yeah.
Special interest?
It can, yeah. It depends on what the bill is.
Right.
opting for like infrastructure bills and whatnot. Yeah.
So in other words, they might say, we're putting this pork in here
Mm-hmm.
if you want to pass it.
Yeah.
Right? You love this bill,
And for the audience, and for
but we're going to put a pork in here
pork
to
barrels.
help out my district.
Pork barrels are like little pet projects that members of Congress request through earmarks. Earmarks is a request, hey, I want $100 million for this new, I think pork, I think a pork might cost more than that, a port in Savannah, Georgia. And earmarks are controversial. They were actually banned for a while because people saw them as, I think as Senator Tom Coburn, who's now deceased, said, they're the currency of corruption. That's how people things are bought and sold. I mean, I remember in Alaska they had literally a bridge to nowhere. It just went out and it costed millions of dollars. And they got that bridge just so then Representative Don Young could vote, I can't remember, I think it was just a budget bill, just for this random bridge that didn't connect to any landmass. And that was public tax dollars. And people said, this is ridiculous. You're not going to, this Republicans did, this is one of the things the Tea Party was very big on in the beginning was, hey, no more earmarks, no more wasteful projects. But, so if it goes to the House and Senate, without conference or all that, it goes to the president's desk. The president can sign it, that's the end, unless it gets challenged in the courts. And then that seems to happen more often than not nowadays.
So then a bill can go to the president's desk, and if he signs it, it can still go to the court. Somebody can sue.
Some district can
on the validity of the.
Yeah, if it's unconstitutional. I remember all it takes is just one federal judge, and there's I think over 7,000 federal judges. One federal judge to issue a block, and then it could go to the appeals court and whatnot.
Does that happen very often?
It happens more nowadays than it used to. Yeah, all it takes is one, and people will typically, depending on who the party is, they'll go to a certain court because they know they're more likely to favor. So for Democrats, they have to go to the Ninth Circuit, which is in California. Republicans have to go to the Sixth Circuit, which is in Texas and Louisiana. And you just get one judge blocking it. Like Trump's when he did the travel ban from 7 countries in 2017, it got blocked in Hawaii, and Jeff Sessions was like Hawaii's pretty much not even part of America. Why is this random island blocking the bill? And then went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Trump. And the president vetoes it, it can still become law. It'll go back to Congress, and if 2/3 of both the House and the Senate vote in favor of that bill, they can override the veto.
I see.
That doesn't happen a lot. It happened, I know to Trump it only happened once. That happened to the last military funding bill. Trump vetoed, and they overrode the veto.
I think Mitch McConnell spearheaded that one, right?
Yeah, because that's especially that bill. That's the NDAA, the National Defense Annual Authorization Act, or something like that. I don't know the exact acronym formula, but that's considered like one of the most essential. Like that in the budget, those are the ones, because they're considered so essential. A lot of people like to put poison pills and little things that go in there because, oh well, this bill may not get, this project may not get passed if it was on its own. But if I put in the essential military bill, it'll have to get passed.
You have a very good career going for yourself in politics.
I need to remember more acronyms and names. I've forgotten a lot tonight.
It's late. You've been doing business all day.
Working out too.
Working out.
Legs.
That's why you're ripped right now.
Yeah, you can't see because I'm wearing jeans.
You're ripped.
These aren't supposed to be skinny jeans, but these are old jeans.
But you're ripped, bro.
Yeah.
You're ripped.
Yeah.
So I think John Fairclough still has heat on him, right?
Yeah, he's a state representative. So of course, most of these rules still apply to him. He's a state representative. Most of the things I just described.
But that's who you're going after.
Yeah, if he's still around in 2024.
If he's still around.
We'll have to wait around and find out.
But if he's around, he's down.
He's down.
He's down, right? He's on.
Of course, unless redistricting changes and I have to run with and that's to serve with him. That'd be awkward if I ran against him and then redistricting happened and then we get sent 2 different seats and it's like I have to serve next to the guy. Like, oh yeah, I tried getting you out. I said some nasty things about you, but let's work together now. That happened a couple of times.
I mean, didn't Hillary worked for Obama, and that kind of happened, right?
Yeah, that happened because she was a senator in New York, and she was absolutely a carpetbagger because she never lived in New York until she ran. And then Obama was a senator from Illinois, and then they ran in 2008. Obama won, and he made her his Secretary of Defense. No, State. Sorry, Secretary of State. For the first term at least. And then it was John Kerry, who was the last Democrat to lose the popular vote in the presidential election.
Is that right?
2004. It's the only time lost, at least in my lifetime, and really since I think 88, the Republicans won the popular vote definitively. Bush got 3 million more votes than Kerry, and Kerry didn't have electoral college.
Would you consider your birth the let me see how to phrase this.
I was born 2001, if that helps.
You chose what?
I was born in 2001, if that helps.
2001.
Mm-hmm.
So would you call that before the dark times, before the empire?
Technically, yes, because I was born a month before 9/11 happened, so I would say yeah.
So you were born before the dark times.
Yeah, I consider 9/11 the
before
start of
the empire.
Yes, I would say 9/11 is the start of the dark times. I know 2 people actually who were born on 9/11, the day, both of them in the morning. Like
wow.
One of them was like a few minutes after the North Tower got hit.
Wow. So they were coming out while the buildings were going down.
Yeah, 2 people. One of them was a coworker, another one was a guy in high school.
Isn't that wild?
It is, yeah. Like the morning of, that's gotta be weird.
That's wild. So are you ready for the pop question?
Yeah, sure.
This is gonna be a big one. You know my pop questions are always good.
They are. I'm ready for it.
And I've actually been thinking about this.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. So, if you could choose any superpower to have, which one would you have?
Any superpower, let me think. Maybe teleportation. That's
not a superpower.
And why not?
To be teleported?
They create like portals or something like that, and like that's like teleportation.
Is that a superpower?
I think so.
Who had it?
I don't have any Marvel DC, but I think that's a superpower.
To be teleported.
It's supernatural. It's a power to like just think of anywhere I want to go and just like go like snap my fingers or whatever.
Okay.
And, I can sort of. I mean, just because it's not endorsed by some.
Okay, so you want to have teleportal powers?
Yeah, I can say because it's supernatural and it's a power. I mean, that's really cool.
So that's the power you want to have.
I would say
to be able to go any place in the universe at the snap of a finger.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah. I almost said flying. I'm like, well, actually, I don't like flying in planes, but so I don't know if I would. I said maybe I trust myself a little bit more, but I think the teleportation would be kind of cool. It would defeat the purpose. It would negate the purpose of having flying. You could just snap yourself there. Okay. What would yours be?
What would mine be? Jedi.
Those aren't superheroes, though.
Those are powers.
They use the Force, but the Force isn't like the Force is more than just a power. It's all
it binds the galaxy together.
Yeah, it's like energy.
I would want to have the Force. I would want to be a Jedi. That would be my superpower.
But Jedi can't have attachments. They can't have like spouses or like families or like that.
I'd be okay with that.
Be kind of boring though, and you get killed because
Obi-Wan did okay.
I think there's like 10,000 Jedi in the galaxy, which actually is not that very much. I'm pretty sure it's 10,000 beforehand. I think only 1,000 survived initially, and then by the time I think only maybe 100 or so survived, like the overall purge. Obi-Wan was one, so was Yoda, Kanan, Jarrus, Ahsoka, but she doesn't consider herself a Jedi. You don't know who Ahsoka is because you didn't watch Clone Wars or The Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett, but you should. She's not a Jedi anymore. She got kicked out. But
who was the one with the green horns going down?
Oh, that's Ayla Secura.
That's right.
She had the French accent.
Yes.
Yeah, she's a.
Was she a Jedi?
Yeah, she's a Twi'lek from Ryloth. Ryloth, I remember, she was on this really poor planet. It's like very rocky.
How can you remember all this?
I mean, I always thought as a kid she was like pretty hot. You know, she's an alien.
Yeah, I mean, she's
hot.
She got a great body.
She's probably one of the hottest Jedi. Twi'leks in Star Wars are actually considered the most attractive species. Yeah, so she gets killed. She gets really killed. In the movie, they're on this crazy. It's not even a jungle planet. It's called Felucia. It's like the weird vines and plants everywhere. It's full of like dangerous animals, and they're going through the jungle. And she's like looking ahead in the foreground the droids, and they already got their guns behind her. They keep shooting her after.
Oh, that was in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, in the Order 66. Like after shooting dead, they're still shooting Commander Bly was her guy. He just dead and gone.
Execute Order 66.
Mm-hmm.
Palpatine's a motherfucker.
He ruined it all, but I mean,
he ruined it all.
He did. I mean, hey, everybody played their part. Dooku played his part. Jango Fett played his part. The Kaminoans played their part. I mean, and even if Anakin, I wonder, even if Anakin hadn't joined Palpatine in that moment, if they had still activated the Order, a lot of Jedi still would have died. The ones in the Temple may have died, but probably half of them still died out in battle and whatnot. And Palpatine, remember, was a really popular Chancellor. We don't see that, but we know him as the villain. But when you hear tidbits of his speeches, not just in the Senate, but in the galaxy, he was very popular. So if he said, "Hey, the Jedi are committing conspiracy," they would probably believe the Jedi were very unpopular. They were very unpopular.
But they were the keepers of the peace.
Not soldiers. But then the Clone Wars changed that. I remember there was one episode of the Clone Wars where, it's in Clone Wars, they briefly mentioned how when this criminal Zero the Hutt, who's related to Jabba, escaped, and they were chasing Zero, they shot down a passenger ship accident, and it crashed into a house, whatever, and the kids who lived there, you meet them later in Clone Wars, and they're like, yeah, Jedi shot down a ship that crashed near our house and killed our parents, and the Jedi talked to us, and the Jedi said, well, I know you lost your parents, but don't worry, the Force will be with you, always, and they just straight up left, and left us as orphans with no house, and just pretty much killed our parents and just didn't even feel bad about it, oh well, you'll be fine, and so things like that made people hate the Jedi.
I see. Mm-hmm. See, these are things I haven't read.
You should, because it makes the prequels better. It makes Order 66 even more sad, but it also makes it more understandable in some ways of how this could happen.
I'd have to find somebody to read it to me.
Well, this is a show. This is from these are television shows.
Oh, okay.
Star Wars: The Clone Wars. That's the one that takes place between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. It's called the Clone Wars, but a lot of it is.
I'll put that on my list to watch.
Yeah, it makes the politics interesting. I mean, remember the politics and prequels are really boring.
Right. So, are you ready for our outro music?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Are you ready?
Let's hit it.
Okay, man.
That's a lot to feel it.
There's our outro music.
I still got a lot of tea left. I didn't even tall glass.
I have a lot of root beer left.
Yeah, we didn't hit any sips.
It was fun, man.
It was very fun, Greg. Thanks for having me. Sorry for the late hour, but
it's okay, man. Time was on our side.
Big News with John and Greg after hours.
After hours,
yeah.
Yes. So, John and I, we always do after hours. But he comes here at 10:30 at night.
Oh, so you're the late. Wow.
Oh, this guy keeps me up late. Now I'm like this. But it's okay. I'm glad you came. I had fun tonight. Looking forward to your political career.
Yes.
I want to help you out. I'm gonna pass out flyers for you.
Or they have this would be all positive things, right? It's not going to be like this person is corrupt or
you're gonna run a positive campaign.
Somewhat. You gotta be a little negative though, but mostly I'll try to get mostly positive.
Okay.
Best defense is a good offense. So.
Okay. Well, thank you for
coming. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Everybody have a great night. Okay?
Good night. Stay safe.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye.
See ya.